I started the Peace and Justice Studies program here with a colleague in the political science department who's actually an adjunct professor, but she's very enthusiastic professor in political science. And when we got to talking, our views were so similar that we decided to try to open a Peace and Justice Studies curriculum here, mainly on the idea that we've been taught war all our lives. I mean, I'm sure you all took American history, and you took the history of the wars that we won. And the heroes are the war heroes. We don't hear about our peace heroes. We don't hear how to make peace, or who are the people who are raising the banner of peace. So we felt this was a real gap in the educational, and we wanted to teach peace studies. But our first provost, when we brought it up to him, felt that it was a little too 60-ish. So he suggested peace and war studies, and I said, no, enough war studies, I want peace studies. So my colleague suggested sustainable development. He liked that idea. So our first course is called Keys to Global Peace, Nonviolent Conflict Resolution, and Sustainable Development. Now that we both of our respective interests together. I've been studying alternatives to violence for over 20 years and teaching it in various ways in my classrooms and for workshops and so forth. And in the last 6 years have intensely studied nonviolent communication, which is a system to create connection between people so that they can resolve their conflicts in an amicable manner where everybody feels good about it. Now, looking at the political systems, we realize that that's not going to happen among nations easily. You know what I'm saying? It's not. This is not a naive approach. We're talking about interpersonal connections, but you have to learn a little bit about peace on an interpersonal level if you're really going to understand how peace is going to work on an international level as well. And he has negotiated, Marshall Rosenberg, who taught the system, many international conflicts on a small level. You know, little more African nations and things like that, little tribal wars and things. So, but we do want to teach people how to create peace in their own lives, because our focus is really creating cultures of peace. How do you create a culture of peace? We have a war, create a culture of war. So obviously educating them about the culture of war in some sense is part of our program. I would love to add your course to our agenda in terms of our courses that we offer as electives. We have 2 required courses in the Peace and Justice Studies minor. One is the Keys to Global Peace course, and the other is the Introduction to Peace and Justice Studies. In the Keys to Global Peace course, we actually do cover the Middle East conflict, because my colleague is not Palestinian, but she's Jordanian, and she really Lebanese, actually, and she really believes in the Palestinian question. So we try to present it as this is the conflict. She gives some background information, the history of it, and the whole, how it gets set up, and how much we had to do with setting it up that way. And then we introduce them to nonviolent communication. We have a sort of simulated debate, not debate, but negotiation on how would you solve some of these questions in a nonviolent way. It's not that we do it, but it gives them some awareness of the difficulties of the issues. And we look at the map the way it is now, and it's difficult to really, how would you resolve this in a nonviolent way? So we just really ultimately leave them with the question, even though they do it as an exercise to try to work together and hear each other's feelings and needs on both sides of the question, which is really what it comes down to. We also, because of our, it's a huge course, in terms of the breadth of it, we introduced speakers. And in the first year, we had people from the economics department talking about the economic factors, the political science department, the environmental aspects and the ethical aspects. But what most of them did was bring in the problems. And by the middle of toward the third part of the semester, I was depressed, because it was also an education for me, because I'm a psychologist, and I'm getting introduced to a lot of material that actually was relatively new to me. And I said to Joan, my colleague, we have to do it differently. I want to present solutions to the problems. Yes, we've got to make them aware of the problem, but I want to give them a sense that there are solutions. The main message that we try to give our students in both courses, and that's the thrust of the whole program, is that you can make a difference. And we give this little thing out at the end of the year, Margaret Mead's quote, "I never doubt that a small group of thoughtful citizens can change the world." In fact, that's the only thing it ever has. But In addition to the curricular program, which we've gotten with the 2 major courses and electives that complement that, and I would love that one, which is really, focusing on wars and the problems of wars. We do it in terms of the economy. I make sure that they read and watch websites that show how our economy is structured, and that we have 55% of our tax dollars going to the military or defense in some way, and about 2% to education, and and when they really see those things, they're shocked. They're shocked that we spend so much on military and so little on education. We do the comparison, if you just took the taxes in Westchester on the Iraq War alone, not the billions on all the other wars, you could send every person in this university could have gone free, plus about 100 other students could have gone free for 4 years. That impacts them. When they see that I could have gone free for this, even just a part of this war funds in Westchester alone, all the rest of the country, So as you said, when you talk trillions of dollars, people don't know what that means. They just don't really have a concept. So you have to bring it down to, what's it going to make the difference to you? How would it make your life different? The last part is a co-curricular program. I have a wonderful advisory board who's been with me all along in creating this and supporting it. And this year, we've wanted to expand to include the concepts of sustainability, partly because there's a big sustainability thrust here, but not just environmental sustainability, but economic and social sustainability. I, for example, cover a little bit of economic social sustainability in the Peace and Justice Studies course, and I introduce them to Prout and a little bit of the solidarity economy in that, as, let's look at what other possibilities there are here. Not that these are mostly, introductory classes, and so they don't get the sense of it completely, but I want to give them the ideas. But we try to introduce the whole concept of sustainability by a discussion series that was faculty, student, and staff. My advisory board is not only faculty, but staff and students. And so we had a discussion on the first, on the effect of the impact of this economy on sustainability and, how can we survive. The next one was on war, and that was one of the ones that I actually did on the cost of war. Can we afford another war? And the last one is going to be on the environment and what can we do to actually change this global impact that's, what's happening right now. And of course I show, if you haven't seen it, everybody wants to see it, I think, www.thestoryofstuff.com. I show that in both classes because I think if they don't realize the effect of the capitalist economy in trashing the planet and destroying peoples everywhere, and they don't really quite get the picture. But, you need something more inspirational because after they see that, they say, yeah, but we're still not going to stop shopping. It's like you need to, so I'm working on creating a way to inspire them, and hopefully this newest discussion, Nick Robinson, who's our eminent professor of law, is actually working with our advisory board now. And he's going to give the talk on global climate change and some things you can do. We're going to have a brainstorm after that, trying to get the students to what we can do at pace and Pleasantville, but also what you can do in your own life. I have them getting their ecological footprints, taking a look at that. But if we don't get the economy and the environment settled, we're also not going to have peace because you're going to have resource wars, So they're intertwined. You can't talk about these topics in isolation. So when you talk about peace studies, you're really talking about the whole, Megillah, so we try to cover a little bit of everything as an introduction. I would like to get the in-depth courses like the one you've taught, where you really get to wrestle with these as part of our curriculum. We don't have anything like that in our group. But one thing that Joe Franco suggested was that we make courses on both campuses available so that we could possibly do them, students could take a course here as part of our minor. And that is an option. I want to recommend it.